You know, a lot of people out there have their own belief, or rather their own favorite show from in the Star Trek franchise. You know, you got the original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager, Enterprise, and then we go into the new series from the franchise, Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds. For me, Deep Space Nine is my all-time favorite. And I'm going to be fair about this. I'm going to exclude the original series because that was the beginnings. That was the basis for everything that was to follow. So the original series is out. My comparison basically is from the Next Generation up. Deep Space Nine, as far as I'm concerned, is the best out of all of them. It has the best stories, the best character development, excuse me. It also has some of the best villains that I have seen come out of Trek. I also know that there'll be people out there saying, how can you say that? If it wasn't for the Next Generation, we wouldn't have Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and even Enterprise. Well, you're right. But I have my belief that Next Generation, while it was good, I honestly feel that the characters were better written in Deep Space Nine. The stories were much better in Deep Space Nine than they were in Next Generation. It's not to say that Next Generation wasn't great. I just think Deep Space Nine was better. Cisco probably is one of my favorite in the series. Starting out as a commander when we first met him, and becoming a captain 3 years later, he has become or became one of the most amazing wartime captains that Starfleet has produced. Not to mention the fact being the emissary of the prophets. Kira, Jadzia, Worf. Now, if you've watched the show, you know these two, Quark and Odo, are real important parts of the show. They just are great together. You got your thief who runs a bar and gambling casino. At the same time, you got a shape-shifting security officer who just loves to be a pain in his ass. I absolutely love these two. And of course, one of the best characters to ever be created in Star Trek, Elam Garak, the Cardassian tailor who is also a spy, but is not a spy, is a secret agent, but is not a secret agent, an international man of mystery. Bashir and Garak were the best pair to team up with. You got the Doctor with his strong human ethics, and you got the Cardassian with his values, and Bashir is always trying to teach him morality. Like the time he tries to teach Garak that lying is wrong, and tells him the story of the boy who cried wolf, and how at the end, because the boy kept telling the lie about the wolf coming, that the wolf finally did come, no one showed up, and the wolf gobbled up the boy and the sheep, and Garak is just like, that's a kind of a tragic story to tell children, don't you think? And Bashir's the point is that if you tell the same lie over and over again, no one will believe you even when you're telling the truth.
Even when you're telling the truth. Are you sure that's the point, Doctor? Of course. What else could it be? That you should never tell the same lie twice.
Since we're on the subject of Cardassians, I think we should talk about this Cardassian right here.
I'm not just any Cardassian. I'm Gul Dukat.
Gul Dukat became so a major part of the DS9 story. From his trying to conquer Bajor, to becoming the ruler of the Alpha Quadrant, to making a deal with the Pah-wraith, he was somewhat the Hitler of DS9. And he was probably one of the most dark villains that has ever come from DS9. Now, I know I just think that he is one of the best written villains of the Star Trek TV series universe. Star Trek has given us many villains over the years, but none more vicious, no more evil than the Jem'Hadar. And I know a lot of people out there are going to say the Borg, but no. I even think the Jem'Hadar are way better than the Borg. Created by the founders to be their obedient watchdogs and just to clear house whenever they want someone removed. The Jem'Hadar were monsters, vicious warriors who could even terrify Klingons. And speaking of the Klingons, introducing Worf and the Klingons to Deep Space Nine really took DS9 in a whole different direction. This show became so explosive with action, more than I think any of the others. In the Next Generation, we got to watch the rise of Gowron to become the Emperor or the Chancellor. In DS9, we got to see him as a corrupt politician. A fight scene that I don't think anyone saw coming. Worf taking on Gowron. Gowron's death was just so quick. And the thing that I love about this fight is even though they hated each other toward the end, Worf still gave him the honorable death that he deserved.
You will not have this death.
General Martok, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the baddest warriors the Klingons have ever produced. This is a Klingon who just went through a living hell as a prisoner in a Jem'Hadar war camp, and then once freed, just became such a powerful man. He had his rough go at the beginning of it because he was nervous and wasn't sure if he could be a Klingon warrior again, but the Klingon just came back to life and just became such a powerful man. And Worf killing Gowron and giving the power of the Chancellor to Martok was just amazing. A person like Martok is going to be a great leader. Now, to be fair about it, one set of characters I really wasn't that fond of was the Vorta. Weyoun was just a suck-up that I just could not stand, and I know that he was genetically engineered to be that way, but I did not like the Vorta. Those were characters I just could have dealt without. Deep Space Nine gave us something that no other Star Trek had given us. Lots of war. Lots of destruction, massive casualties, death, ship battles. It was just amazing. That's another reason why I say Deep Space Nine is the best Trek. More Federation ships than have ever been seen in a Star Trek series. And of course, it wouldn't be Deep Space Nine without Quark. The Ferengi just made this such a special show with all the scheming, the manipulation, the lies, the stealing, the smuggling. What I loved the most about the Ferengi was his brother Rom, who started out as a groveling nobody who just always just wanted to hope that his brother died so he could inherit the bar. But he finally found a path for himself and became so much more, and at the end wound up becoming the Grand Nagus himself. No one expected that. Liquidator Brunt, probably one of my favorite besides Quark. He was just such a evil, fun guy. I liked him. The rules of acquisition: women should be naked and not speaking and shouldn't be heard and hiding in a house. It was just such a backwards society, but absolutely loved. Well, I've given you some of my thoughts on why I think Deep Space Nine is probably one of the best of the franchise. Again, I'm not counting the original series. I'm starting out with the Next Generation and beyond after that. I say Deep Space Nine was probably the best one to come out. Plot development, character development. It was just a great 7 seasons. And I loved Deep Space Nine. Well, I'm going to end the video right here, but I would really like to know, What is your favorite Star Trek? And do you have any particular characters that you think help make your show the best that Star Trek could offer? Let me know. Drop your comments below, and until the next time, my friends, God bless.